Hi guys, my name's Lindsay. I just want to start out with, I'm sorry I'm doing this on my phone and I'm holding it, so I'm probably going to be switching hands a lot. My arm gets a little bit tired. So I just wanted to say I hope that this quality is good enough. So I'm sorry, I'm in Michigan right now and my flight school's closed, so I can't do this in my airplane, but I will be using my little handy dandy 172 panel here today. So in the actual comment today that we talked about on Facebook, the question was, what do we need to do in a climb? I wanted to just start out with, talk to your instructor. There's a million ways to do everything in aviation. This is just my personal way. I hope it's helpful, but your instructor will know the DPE that you'll be working with and what they prefer, so always just double check with your instructor, but hopefully this is a little bit helpful, a different perspective, and we can see what we can do to help here. So, okay, in a climb, I'll start with a little bit just about that post in case there was a question. So the phrase that was thrown out in the actual post was integrated flight instruction. Not something you're ever going to hear as a student. It's not really something from that. It's more from an instructor perspective. So integrated flight instruction is using the outside as your main focus really of controlling your aircraft and verifying with your panel inside. So that's mainly for private and commercial. As you know, instrument can't really see, so it's a little bit different. But you really just want to be looking outside and being able to judge what your aircraft is doing at all times just by visual cues. So we'll start with what happens from takeoff. So we've taken off, we are climbing, and pretty soon, quickly after that, right, you start pitching for VY. So what is VY? We all know the book answer is the best rate of climb. So VY is going to get you to your cruise altitude the fastest out of any airspeed. How is that a good thing? It's an efficient airspeed. It's a little bit different from VX, which is the best angle of climb, which will get you the most altitude in the shortest horizontal distance. Or a different cruise climb airspeed, which might be a little bit faster than VY. So why would we want to use VY? There's really two things that I usually stress. VY, will be pitched more like this. VX might be like this. So VY, when you are climbing like that, there's going to be more airflow over your engine than at VY. I personally fly 150 and 172. I sometimes fly a Sundowner, which is a low wing. It's like a Piper Cherokee. It's not as known, but basically it's Beechcraft's version of the Cherokee, and these hold true for pretty much any airframe that I've flown, so just keep that in mind. But yes, we are flying with an air-cooled engine in this scenario. So if we are going more still directly into the wind than straight up, we are going to get more airflow over our engine. Air-cooled engines like that airflow. So that's something, it puts a little bit less stress on the engine. It's not going to heat up as much inside. Another thing is for visibility. If you are a little bit flatter, you might be able to see over your nose just a little bit. VY, you're still not going to be able to see over it super well, but you're going to see better than you would for VX. This could be important for, traffic, terrain, anything that you might need to see in front of you. You might be able to catch a little bit sooner with VY. So that's why we want to use VY in a climb. It's efficient, it's healthier for the engine, and it's better for our visibility. One asterisk that'll come in later, even at an extended climb with VY, just going back to that visibility a little bit, you want to do some little S-turns as you're climbing, just like this, just like a 10-degree bank, just once or twice, just to be able to see what's in front of you more. That will allow you to see directly in front of you to make sure that there's nothing there that you need to know about. But okay, so moving on. So we've taken off, we've pitched for VY. I'm going to use my little picture. Obviously, this is on the ground. It's a little bit different than in the air, but it's the same concept. It's going to hold true with what's in our background up here. So for just this picture, I'm going to use where the top of the building and the sky meets as our horizon. It's not necessarily to scale, but the idea is still the same. So we have pitched for Vy, and normally Vy you find with your airspeed indicator. So just real quick, little review, pitch for airspeed, power for altitude. So pitch for airspeed, if we want to go slower, we pitch up. If we want to go faster, we pitch down. If we want to, slow down or rest our descent rate or ascent rate, we use our power, but pitch for airspeed. So it's something to consider. So we're either cruising along here or we're still like starting our general climb. So if you put the top of your dash and the top of the cowl up on this line up here, it's a pretty good rule of thumb for Vy. I found it's generally at most 4 off, and whether that's in miles per hour or knots, it doesn't matter, it holds true the same way. So at general, 3 to 4 knots, maybe if it's not perfectly on. So once you've either started your climb and you put it there, or you've gone from cruise and you've started your climb, and you've gotten the top of your cowl on this line, go ahead and peek in at your airspeed indicator. It should be pretty close to Vy. Once you've, made your slight adjustment from whatever this does tell you, this is more accurate. Like I said, this is a rule of thumb to get you there. Once you've made your adjustments, quickly from your airspeed indicator, look back outside. The goal of everything is to have your eyes outside. It's very easy to get fixated on an instrument in here. You don't want to get fixated. Always keep your eyes moving, inside, outside, inside, outside. When you're outside, doing your 10-degree scan, looking for traffic, seeing what's going on with your airplane. But okay, so we've gotten our pitch pretty set now with using the horizon and using our airspeed indicator. So now we want to make sure that we're in a level climb. It's very easy to even get just a little bit of a turn in there in your climb. We want to make sure that we are in a completely level climb. So, like I was saying, I'm so sorry, I'm about to turn like really bright with this light usually. It gets really bright in here. But so I'm going to use the top of my couch here as the horizon. So we're flying along, and you can see here's my wingtip, my fingers. Let's see. My fingers here on my wingtip. We're above the horizon here. So if I go into a turn to what is my left, my wingtips go above the horizon. Go back to level, we still have that same distance here. If I go to a turn to what is my right, might cover the horizon. So we go outside, we look outside, look at our wingtips, look at both of them, make sure that, it's a pretty equal distance, then look inside. When you look inside, you want to look at your turn coordinator, make sure your airplane's level, and your artificial horizon to see if there's any bank in that. Once that you've established you're pretty level, and your instruments are verifying that you're level, we're good to go. You're setting your climb. You've got your pitch, you've got your roll, your level, your climbing. We're good. So you want to just look inside, verify, look back outside, make sure nothing's changed, make sure the horizon's in the same place. Look to the sides, make sure your wingtips are still in the same place. Look at your instruments, make sure your airspeed's still where it needs to be, your turn coordinator's level, everything like that. Your artificial horizon is at the proper, the pitch hasn't changed on that, and your roll hasn't changed on that. So now we're in an extended climb. We've got everything set. We're making our minor adjustments to hold all of those indications on your instruments. So now we're in an extended climb, climbing a few thousand feet. Doesn't really matter necessarily how many. So now is when we'd want to start doing those small S turns. Just 1 or 2. You'll be able to see over your nose and to the side. So if you're like turning this way, Whoever's in the right seat can see outside better. So then you bank over, now you can see out front in the left seat. It's really good to just do just a few times, just to make sure there's nothing out there that you are not, keeping yourself blind from the whole time. So now it's time to level off. So as you know, you're going to lower your nose from your climb and find your level attitude here, making sure your wings are still level. Keep looking outside at your wingtips, making sure they're still that same distance from the horizon that they should be. So I'm going to come back to my little paper, and okay, obviously, not to scale, so I'm trying to do this the best I can. We're still going to use this line up here as the horizon. So when you think that you're in a level attitude, look inside, verify everything is stabilized. You're not turning, you're not climbing, you're not descending, nothing like that. Once you're in a level attitude, you're going to take your fist and you're going to put it up on your dash right here. I'm going to need both hands for this, so I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do, and then I will show you. So you're going to take your fist and you're going to put it up on the dash. You're going to see where this line intersects on your knuckles, and that's a good general rule of then you are level. If you need to put your hand up there again and just verify real quick, if you just want to check rule of thumb again, just about level at that point. Sometimes this is called the four-finger rule. I've found a lot of people, a lot of us girls, our hands are not necessarily as big, so it's not 4 fingers for us. As far as I know, I've never had it be 4 fingers. It might be, it could be for you. That's why just find where it intersects on your hand and what works for you. So I will show you real quick. So mine on this black line is perfectly between my ring and middle finger. So later on, if I'm just cruising along and I want to make sure I'm level by looking outside, I would just put my hand up there again and make sure that this line is right in between my ring finger knuckle and my middle finger knuckle. So it's a really good way to just check without looking at your instruments and being able to use what you have outside. So, it's always inside, outside, outside, inside. Look to your sides, use your wings, rock your rings every now and then too. You could have somebody above you that if you're in a high wing aircraft, if you bank, they pop into the picture all of a sudden. If you're in a low wing aircraft, if you bank, you now might see somebody under you. So never get stagnant is one of my recommendations also. There's always something going on. Check to make sure that you're doing your scan as best as you can and you are keeping your instruments where you want them to be and the attitude of your aircraft. If you have any more questions on this specifically, if you want me to go in deeper about something else, just let me know, or if you think I missed anything that I talked about in my comment, I think I tried to get everything, just let me know. But I hope this was helpful, and I hope you have a good weekend.